This video is made possible by Storyblocks Video. Sorry, but I just really like Christmas. That's probably why Home Alone is also one of my favorite films. As a kid, my parents recorded the film using a VCR recorder, and I would watch the film hundreds of times. Being able to fast forward to commercials every time was awesome. But that's a different story. Last week, we made our own version of the film, and if you've seen it, you've probably noticed a lot of visual effects and other stuff. Well, in this video, I'd like to break it down and show you how we've made that short film.
Get the hell out of here, Josh.
Oh, right, Ryan. But what about my money?
Now, we started off with making an edit of the existing film and see how we could tell our story within. Also which shots that we had to shoot, which visuals we would add, etc. And one of the first things that you'll run into when working with an existing film is copyright. Now, we knew up front this was going to be a problem, so right away removed the entire audio track, because this is something that we can recreate entirely. Using the film's audio track as a reference, we would search mostly on Storyblocks audio for sound effects and music. Sounds that were too specific went on a list, which we recorded ourselves later on. Now, Storyblocks is a huge library. They have 3 different subscriptions for images, audio, and video. Now, the video subscription offers high-quality stock clips from various categories. There are backgrounds, overlay effects, green screen clips, holiday video assets, After Effects templates, such as intros, logo reveals, slideshows, and much more. And like with every subscription of Storyblocks, there's only a single price per month or per year, which gives you unlimited downloads for their entire library. To find out more, make sure to click the first link in the description down below. Now back to the sound. Sometimes the sound effects did not match. Usually the problem was reverb. So using Premiere Pro's Audio Essentials, you can click on Sound Effect as the audio type, and under Reverb, choose the right setting. Usually room or outside reverbs worked well. You can change the amount of reverb as well. Now here's a very interesting trick. When you need to cut off a sound, the reverb will also cut off. So what you can do is simply animate the volume of the clip onto the point where you'd like it to cut off. The sound will now cut, but the reverb will not. And then comes the music. Using the reference track was actually very educational. Lorenzo did the sound design, and he told me how much he learned about using music in film. Now, we are very used to using a music track and overlaying that over a video or film. But what caught our attention was how short and subtle the music often was. Just a single cello for a few seconds. An instrument or sound that defines the character in the film and what that character is doing.
Oh. Janek, I'm coming in!
So that's definitely a tip that I can give to anyone. Create your own sound design and music score to an existing film. You learn so much from doing that. Next up, we took some shots of ourselves that we edited into the film. The car scene was simply shot using a suction mount on the hood of the car. In post-production, we would cut out the chassis of the real van from the film and make it match better with the following shots. Now, this was simply done by masking around a still frame, then motion tracking our car and linking the still frame to that. If the normal motion tracking doesn't work, try to use the 3D camera tracker of After Effects. It often gives great results. In other shots, we didn't have to do much, like in the kitchen scene. This was just a matter of finding the right location. As for the door, we did search for one and hang the same curtain in it like in the film. Another technique we did was with a green screen. We photoshopped a frame out of the film until we got a clean background. Then shot ourselves in front of a green screen and placed ourselves in the film. And finally is this superimposing trick. We again took a still of the film and cut out a hole in the window. We've got a monitor from Small HD which allows us to load a transparent PNG file in there, and thus seeing in real time how the shot will look like. So, as you can see, there are various techniques to place yourself into a film. Now, back in the summer, we even tackled another technique using content-aware fill in After Effects. And then of course is the Deepfake, a self-learning software that takes your face and places that onto someone else, in this case the actors from Home Alone. Now we had great help from Chris Ume, a deepfake and VFX artist. Now he has actually done all of the deepfake shots, and he also has a VFX breakdown video on his channel about this project. Definitely check it out, link in the description. So first we had the assignment to film ourselves for about 20 minutes, just making lots of expressions in different angles, and then Chris would let the software run for several weeks until we get the best results. However, Home Alone seems to be a tricky film to deepfake. Definitely with Harry or Janik, he had lots of trouble, so Chris had to work in After Effects to adjust the deepfake results. Things like adding smoke and cleaning up glitches, or when something covers Harry's face, etc. Often we had to be creative where the deepfake learning just absolutely didn't work. Like in this shot where Harry walks to the front door. Chris simply put Harry out of focus to cover that up. So that's an overview of the deepfake. If you would like to learn how to do it yourself, then make sure to check out our deepfake tutorial for beginners in the description. Alright, and that brings us to the last thing, color grading. Not per se the film itself, but mostly our shots and how we match that to the film. There are two issues that we run into. First of all, the film itself was heavily compressed compared to the footage that comes out of our camera. So there's already a quality difference. And then the second issue is the medium. Home Alone was shot on film and we used a digital camera. Very hard to match. I tried to download an Eastman 5296 film LUT, which Home Alone was shot on, but it gave pretty bad results for some reason. So then I simply used a plugin called Film Convert, which turned out great. You can choose a film type and afterwards choose how much grain you like, how strong the film color has to be and all, but also soften the image. And the way that this plugin handles these settings is incredible. Instead of getting a blurry image like you would get with the Gaussian blur, Film Convert actually makes it soft, like film. Also, matching the shots went a lot easier with this plugin. There are a bunch of color correction tools that work very different than Lumetri does. Important to note is that I also added grain to the stills that I took from the Home Alone film. Freezed frames are noticeable as the current noise is also freezed, so that is why you add some moving grain to it. And that's basically how we made Home Stallone. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, thank you Storyblocks for the support, and as always, stay creative and Merry Christmas.
Where did he go, Janik?
He escaped, Jordy.
Oh boy.
Man, yo boy. Okay, go.
Where did he go, Janik?
I don't... me, Janik. Niet waar duwen. Ik val bijna uit het raam.